What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just
You
pretending
look
the black.
scared.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking. What's up, YouTube? We're back at it again. This time, once again, we have my beautiful wife Jamie joining us for this
Hello.
episode, and today we're going to talk about the beginnings of our basically journey to where we are here in Bali today. Right, we're at the Secret Gardens, where we've got this beautiful view of the rice field behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things we did was we booked out in New York. Right, we left New York City. And why do you think we left New York, Jamie? Was it
Because it's the black hole.
the black hole? Everything gets
Sucks you in.
Yeah,
Sucks
it
you
is.
in. Zoop. There goes your soul.
Well, it's not just the soul. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, when we were living in New York, it was still a very nice time.
Yes,
Things have gotten
yes.
a little bit worse these days, but it was very safe. I mean, you walk around subway streets and, no worries about anybody pushing you off into the rails or something like that, or hitting you, clocking you from behind. But
I think there was worries, but we just ignored it because we were younger.
that's true too. We were a lot younger. This
And-
was a couple of decades ago.
It was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
I went to New York City. I was actually born in New York City, but raised in Long Island and New Jersey. I like to bring that up for some reason. 'Cause I'm
No, I
proud
mean,
of my
it's
New
your-
York City
it's your
roots.
past. I was not
When I
born
saw
there.
hospital, woo! But why I went back to New York City was basically it's just fun.
Yep.
Living it up, partying, everything's open, 24 hours, 7 days a week if you want. But then that's why it's called the black hole, because it just sucks you in.
I
Sucks
mean,
me in.
it is. Don't get me wrong. If you're in your 20s, it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
At
for
least
sure.
back then, because I mean, it's where all the parties were.
Easy access.
Yeah, you had easy access. I mean, literally anything you wanted, including anything, you could get, right? Just phone call away, and you'd have it in an hour or two max. So yeah, I mean, if you're single and you're trying to have fun and explore the world, I don't know of a better place than in New York City. The other thing about New York City is everybody came to you. Like, you would never leave New York City, right? Everybody would come to you.
I would leave for the summers to the Hamptons.
Yeah, I'm talking about when you're living.
hotspot.
That's why they call it the bridge and tunnel, the B&T folks. Like, everybody, all your friends, you would not go to your friends out in northern New York or something like that. You would tell them to come to New York City because you were in Manhattan, right? So
Yeah.
everybody came to you, and that's part of the black hole of sucking everybody in, was the fact that everybody would come to you. You would never leave. Like, the only reason you would ever leave New York is when you wanted a break from the concrete jungle and, peace out to the forest or something, or go fishing
Or if you want to
upstate
get some
New York.
sleep. I would go back to my parents' house in New Jersey to sleep.
The other thing, when I was living in New York, that was pretty evident. I used to take the subway all the time, and whenever I would ride the subway, I would look into people's eyes who were riding the subway along with me, and it just seemed like they were all zombied out. Like, there was, I don't know, they were either like really tired or stressed out, or there was just nothing going on behind their eyes. And did you ever feel that way? That sometimes, outside of the tourists who were really annoying because they would walk really slow, the people there kind of seemed a little bit.
Yeah, because it's a
yeah.
rat race. It's a concrete jungle. So, I mean, titles, basically everyone's striving to be something.
Yeah, the rat race. I mean, that's the ultimate rat race, right?
Someone. They're trying to be something and someone. And it's a very expensive place to live. So you need to have money to live a comfortable life.
Yeah. I mean, it is the ultimate rat race. I mean, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about this later, but we've moved out to Silicon Valley and we saw the billionaire lifestyle there too. But in New York City, it was because it's corporate, and there is this like hierarchy and this path you have to take in order to become the mega millionaire. It was a rat race, and I would say there's a saying that if you can make it in New York,
Make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
up to you, New York.
Yeah, it's totally
Yeah.
true, because it is the ultimate. Like, seriously, it is the highest bar of the rat race, if you will, in the world, I would say. And I do think if you can make it in the rat race there, you could make it anywhere. Although I don't know what that really means.
What is making it there?
Exactly. What
a
is that?
walking zombie.
Yeah, what does that
People
mean?
are always
actually?
like, I mean, honestly, I'll be honest. I'm always honest. It's Fafi way. I used to get paid to like go out and party and just have fun. I mean, I was like.
You used to get paid to go to parties,
I used
right?
to get paid to go to clubs
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just like talk to people.
Yeah.
And I used to do some
You're-
like modeling there, but like I was just trying to fit in again. I was trying to fit in, and then like I realized like a lot of I've seen some people do stuff that's illegal, not great. And I was always asking them, why are you doing this? To escape reality or to like enhance fun, you know? And
Yeah.
you know, they're really escaping reality.
Well,
They're
I
trying
can
to
tell you,
escape it.
nobody ever paid me to come to parties.
You pay for people to go to parties with you.
Yeah, I might have been on the other side of the equation.
No.
Look, I never paid you to come to a party, right?
But there were some good parts of New York City, as I said before.
Yeah.
It's like the melting pot of like the world.
Yeah.
Things are 24 hours, 7 days a week, whatever you want. In a
Awesome
way, like food.
Every weekend there was some activity going on in the city. Concerts.
I love concerts. I used to go to concerts all the time. I miss
different
that.
countries celebrating their Independence Day, or
There's always something going on.
There's always
Central
something
Park
going
is beautiful.
on.
It depends how the lifestyle that you want.
They also had some really good contributions to society there. Remember, we used to go to the Bowery Mission in the Lower East Side?
Yes, they had a program, Don't Walk By.
Yeah.
So we went on the streets and we set up like a soup kitchen. We got the people off the streets and got them into the Bowery Mission.
There are a lot of homeless people still,
Yes.
I think even more now, but even back then, there were a lot of homeless people living in the streets back then. And this place would take them in and not just like keep them in like a soup kitchen, but actually try and train them so that they could stay off the streets. And we kind of helped out there. I mean, I was teaching, actually, I was doing a weekly class helping some of these homeless people learn some computer skills, get the resume up on board so they can find a job. The funny thing was when I worked with these people, I found out you would think that these homeless people have some issues, and some of them do have mental issues and whatnot, but a lot of them were just like us. They were no different. Like I can't tell you how many people I met. They had regular jobs, white-collar jobs, but just had a string of bad luck, like tornadoes or hurricanes blowing out their house in Florida. And then, they went into this bad spiral of drinking or some drug abuse, and they ended up on the streets.
Or some disabled vets or people that had like trauma from being in the war, being in, So
but the thing is, they're just like you and me. They're no different, honestly, if you get to know these homeless people. And I'll never forget that feeling I had when I made that realization that they were just like you and me.
Well, I actually placed someone to take over my job with a beverage company.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was a graduate of the Bowery Mission.
New York was actually the epitome of living from outside in, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do at FOFTU, which is to live from inside out.
It's about your looks.
Yeah.
It's about how skinny you are. I'll tell you now.
It is. Well, it's also about how much money and cash, your job title, and which company you worked for. Those external things kind of like literally defined who you were and which, circles you could run in together with other people, right? So it was this exemplary living from outside in,
Exactly, but if you had cash, you could go out and party and have fun with the clubs. Get into the clubs, the club scene, so to speak, the nightlife.
Yeah, and if you're a woman,
very old
if you were
man,
a pretty woman, you would get into all the clubs
and get free drinks,
and get paid. So it was a very superficial outside in way of living that again might be fun when you're growing up in your 20s and learning about who you are to begin with, but you reach a certain point in your life where you realize that the outside or the surface of who you are doesn't define the inside of who you are. And that's when things start to change and you begin to question about what really matters in life, and then question about whether or not you should continue to stay and live in New York.
What I witnessed in, so to speak, the clubs and the nightlife, the scene, was, these older men that kind of, I would say, maybe were nerdy-ish growing up, and then they had the money.
Oh yeah, when the nerds and the dorks got the final word to the jocks.
They have the money, and then they have like all the attention, right? Because it's about money talks there. So in a way, it's an illusion about the money, and also about just like I would say again, the illegal stuff that was going on, a lot of illegal stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well.
But so money talks there, right? And again, for women, looks talks for women. It's the equivalent for men, it's the money, and for women, it's how hot you were.
Yeah, of course, money talks, but were these people really happy, truly happy? No, they weren't. They kept chasing like another girl or another guy or more money or just whatever. They just weren't happy within. They were not.
And again, on the flip side for women, even though they might be beautiful and super hot, were they really happy? They were chasing one guy to the next guy, some hedge fund manager to some investment banker to some what next, right? So what is the next thing to, and it's just like any drug you take, for example, you know,
Yes.
that you're chasing a high
Exactly.
and you need more and more to get that little bit more of a high. And you get into this rut where you've reached a point where no matter how big, intake or change you make, the high you get is so much smaller. And then you hit that ceiling, and then you have, basically the down, right? And that's really
Downward black hole spiral.
tough. Yeah. And,
So
the, and it's a tough down, right?
It
and
is
it's
tough down.
it's a tough down that
It
you have
is.
to go through.
Yeah, even when I bring up that I used to live in New York City, people are like, wow, I want to live there. I want to go there. It's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, it is. But like when I go back now, it's amazing for, in a way, like the wrong reasons I see. Because when I go back there now, I'm like, wow, it's dirty. It smells like that. Pee. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's really, and it just depends on what you're looking for in life. It
Exactly.
really
I mean,
does.
we're not saying that New York is terrible or bad.
No,
It's actually
no.
awesome. Again, if you're in your 20s and want to party and have fun, I don't know of a better place on the planet to do that or to try and find yourself perhaps. But, let's say you've come to the realization that the outside doesn't define who you are, or you're a little older and you have a family and these types of things start changing. No, it's probably not the best place. And a lot of people have left and are leaving the city for those reasons.
But yeah, of course, like I go back and I visit, I miss the music scene, but other than that, I really just kind of want to go in and go out.
In and out. It's like the In-N-Out burger.
I do not want to go in the downward spiral of the black hole.
You get trapped in it. You could get. It's also
course.
if you're in the rat race and you're in that, like you're trying to one up each other or trying to get to that next level, it does really suck you in, right? And you really find a hard time to leave and peace out because you've invested so much and you've gotten so far. So why would you give it all up? It's essentially the sunk cost mentality that's very hard to get rid of, and that's why you keep playing the rat race and staying there.
So it's actually my idea to exit. And why did I want to exit? Because I wanted to go to California. I wanted to go it's more into nature. So I took my mother with me because she's only just been stuck in New Jersey, cross country. And I just went there and it was great. And Sang met me over there.
Yeah, she booked out first, so
Yeah.
she actually rented a car. Oh no, rented a car.
No,
and
no,
drove.
we bought a car from someone, the Ford Escape. We escaped. I escaped the black hole.
Oh yeah, that's
with the
right.
Escape.
We bought the car, and and she took the car and drove
Escape.
cross country to California ahead, and of course took a bunch of stuff with her, so I didn't have to bring it on the plane. And then I followed a couple of weeks later on the plane, which is another story because I met some really interesting people on that plane trip that changed our lives a bit. After we moved to California. So leaving New York actually ended up being one of the first steps in our journey to where we are now.
First of many steps.
First of many steps. But the first step was actually to leave the giant black hole that was, for us at
Sucking
least,
us in.
New York City and that whole lifestyle. And it was very hard to do. And again, we were both going through divorce and separation at the time, so we were trying to help each other out emotionally and also financially and in other different ways to get ourselves out of that rut. And, that was a very important moment for us because that, there's no looking back once you go, right? Once you go, that's it. You ain't no coming back to that. And so that really set the stage for all the other steps that we had to take leading up to where we are now here in Bali in preparation for what's going to come on the world, basically, and you see where we're heading, and also preparation for us and our children's lives in finding who we are and knowing ourselves and elevating ourselves. Now, we had some pretty crazy instances of living next to people such as Anthony Weiner in New York City.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was
like
great.
Anthony Weiner was our neighbor for a stretch of the time. I don't know if you know Anthony
The
Weiner.
amazing smell in your apartment.
Yeah. So it was
On
kind of
Park
weird.
Avenue.
Like we would see.
Yeah, you moved out of what was it, Park Avenue, right? You lived in
Yeah,
Park
yeah,
Avenue.
yeah. That was when
he had the life.
I did live in some interesting spaces, right? And it was kind of
Right.
weird going to the gym and seeing Anthony Weiner, the pedophile, or was it? Yeah, it was a pedophile convicted congressman, was he? working out next to me and checking out all the girls while working out in the gym next to me. That was kind of weird, man.
That was interesting. And then we moved to 32nd and 3rd,
Yeah, yeah,
which was a very nice place.
yeah. And
Beautiful rooftop
yeah, yeah.
of the Empire State Building. So we lived a nice life in New York City. You lived a nicer life before you met me in New York City.
Yeah, no,
But material-wise.
The city is beautiful, right? The
Material-wise,
views we had of the Empire State Building and
Yeah,
and all
that roof was
it's
amazing.
awesome, right? And just again, access to anything you wanted at the tip of your fingers was just crazy.
Yes.
I mean, basically, New York City to us was the epitome, the peak of the material life.
Of course,
It's,
yes.
you know,
Yes.
as far as living a material life, that was it, right? And we got as far as we could go or wanted to go. So leaving New York was the beginning of the end of living a material life for both of us. And that was a big step for us to take. And something that we just wanted to share with anybody who's watching this, you know, if you are in that situation where you feel like you're a slave or a hostage to a very material rat race type of a life, that you can exit, you know, I mean, you have to plan for it and it won't happen like, you know, don't do something like, you know, overnight, but you can absolutely ditch it and create a new lifestyle, right, Jamie?
Yeah, it's a big world. I mean, I never thought that I'd be living in Bali, out of all the places, even Singapore. But there's so much more out there than just New York City. I know New York City, everyone's like, oh, I want to go to New York City, New York City. Everything's New York City,
And
Big
it is,
Apple.
yeah.
It is, it's a great place.
Yeah.
I had my fun, and then it was time to get out.
So anybody listening out there are pathways outside of the rat race that's in the material world, and you can find them. Like Jamie said, the world's a big place, so don't limit your scope to just here and there, but really expand possibilities, and you'll find that life is truly amazing. And having said that, peace out. We'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.